In this video, I'll be showing you how to achieve that perfect Nigerian chicken stew. Okay, you're welcome back to the Afro Food Diary. My name is Geraldine. These are the ingredients we need here. I have a mix of tomatoes, but you can have all red. I have bell pepper, habanero, onions. I have some tinned tomatoes as well and sun-dried tomatoes. Okay, this is what you need. Spices on this tray. Yeah, so we'll be using some chicken drumsticks. I've already made a video on how to achieve the perfect chicken drumsticks. You can watch the full video after this one, okay?
When I wake up, I feel cozy, yeah. Can you hold up? Don't need no coffee yet. Got no makeup. How do you look so fine? Bust up, bust up.
So every spice I needed for this stew, I had in my chicken already, okay? So the stock I boiled out of this chicken will have all the spices I need. I have Scotch bonnet, bell pepper, some onions. I went in to add some seasoning cube, ginger powder, you can use fresh one, garlic powder. I have some paprika powder. I have oregano in place of thyme. If you have thyme, just use that, okay? I have curry powder. I'm keeping this stew really simple, so I wouldn't be using a whole lot of spices. I have salt. And I steamed the chicken until it's soft, set it aside, and made it into that yummy chicken drumsticks. You can watch the video after this, okay? But this is how I made the chicken and got the stock I used in making this chicken stew. So back to the tomatoes. I have 2 big tins of fresh crushed tomatoes, not tomato paste. I want this stew to be really fresh. And then I have a mix of tomatoes, and like I said, you can use all red tomatoes, but I just wanted to use 2 different types of tomato, like 2 different shades of tomatoes. Okay, so I went ahead to cut it up. You can squeeze out the seeds from your soft tomatoes if you want to. It's optional, okay? Yeah. You can decide to blend your tomatoes at this point before steaming, but I'll go ahead to steam it before blending, okay? So I'll add everything in this pot right now, including my Scotch bonnet pepper, and cook everything, like boil it down, steam it down until it dries, okay? Then I'll go in this blender now and add my onions to kind of chop it up roughly. You can also slice it if your hands are good, okay? So I'll do same for the bell pepper. Once the fresh tomatoes are almost dry, you go in and pour in the crushed tomatoes now. Remember, the crushed tomatoes is fresh and not like tomato paste. Okay, they are 2 different things. This one is kind of fresh tomatoes crushed. Okay, so I added the bell peppers as well. Remember, please do not stir, otherwise it starts to burn earlier than you imagine. So let it dry completely and then set it aside. Transfer the tomatoes now to your food processor or to your mortar if you want to blend in your mortar, okay? Then add a handful of dried tomatoes. I wanted these tomatoes to have that rich kind of smoky flavor, a little bit. Reason I added the dried tomatoes, but you can skip that, okay? It's just the flavor for today's stew. I went on to sieve my stock as I don't like the debris. And here is the onions and the amount of oil I'll be using for this stew proper, okay? I'm using light olive oil, but you can use any oil of your choice. Go on and saute the onions, okay? Now add the tomatoes bit by bit, okay? To achieve the perfect stew, you need to have some amount of oil on top of your tomatoes, okay? So add bit by bit so that if at any point your oil gets all covered by your tomatoes, then you will know you need more oil for your stew, okay? But for the amount of tomatoes I have here, about 4 cooking spoons of the olive oil was enough. Okay, about a small bowl of olive oil was enough for the stew. And you can see the amount of oil on top. Yeah, the oil is very useful for frying down your tomatoes. Okay, so take down the heat and let it fry gradually. Don't overdo the heat or it will start to burn and mess up your cooktop. Okay, so you want to fry it down, and yeah, you fry it down until the tomato begins to separate from each other like crumbs. Okay, that would take another 6 to 10 minutes, as I already steam dried my tomatoes. Okay, it gives the best results for stews when you steam dry your tomatoes before frying. You can see that look I'm talking about. The surface is crumbly, and if you taste these tomatoes at this point, there is no single sour taste left. This is your perfect tomato sauce. You can use this to make your jollof rice from this point, but we are making chicken stew, right? Okay, so let's go through the rest of the processes. So guys, here we have our chicken stew. I hope you learned 1 or 2 things from this recipe. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful day.
When I wake up, I feel cozy, yeah. Can you hold up? Don't need no coffee yet. Got no makeup. How do you look so fine? Bust up, bust up.